Hey, what's up guys, John here. What does $85,000 get you in Cleveland, Ohio? Well, I'm under contract to buy this property in the next 10 days. We're set to close. This property will probably rent for somewhere between $1,300 and $1,400 per month. It sits on almost a half an acre. Like, it's a huge plot of land in a really good area. Now, my approach with Section 8 is very different than most people. Most people want to buy properties in rundown neighborhoods and try to get the biggest cash-on-cash return that they possibly can while dealing with immense headaches. I'm looking to buy properties in great areas, good homes, at good prices. That's basically it. And I'm looking for tenants that are going to appreciate the property. Now, I know people will say, look, they're going to trash your property. The strategy is to price it about 10 or 15% below market, get an abundance of applications, and pick the best tenant that we possibly can based on the available options. Now, I think that this house is a really good house. It'd be perfect for probably a single person, maybe a single mother. It's only a 2-bedroom, so it's smaller. Generally, you want a 3-bedroom for a Section 8, but this street is just phenomenal. It's very quiet. All these homes are just beautiful homes. It's a great neighborhood, and I think the land alone is probably worth more than what I'm paying for the entire house, and the land included. There's a house right up the street here that sold for over $250,000 last year. So you start looking at all these other homes. All these homes are $180,000, $200,000. So to pick something up directly from the government, Fannie Mae foreclosed on this, and they're selling it. I don't see how you lose on this. I mean, people are buying new cars last year, 18 months ago. Average was like 48,000. So it's like 2 used cars. So, I mean, take a look at this property and you tell me what you think. Now, the insurance is a little over $700 per year. So, 60 bucks a month, give or take. The taxes are about $2,200 per year. So, all in, maybe 300 bucks a month and actual hard cost. I'm not getting a loan on this property, so I'm only buying it cash. And I may put a loan on it down the road, but for simplicity, we bought it cash, and this is it. So tell me what you think of this property. Like, I think, if you're driving in and this is your street that you're living on, and you're renting an apartment in any other big city, and you can come here and live on this massive plot of land. Look at this property. This is the driveway. Like, and that's only a part of the driveway, because the driveway starts back there. And then this is the front of the house. It's 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, about 1,000 square feet. Upstairs, there's an unfinished basement downstairs, which is the same floor plan of the house. So basically the entire structure is about 1,800 square feet. And it needs some work. I would say it needs probably $5,000 to $7,000 worth of work. Needs painting, needs carpet, and a couple of small little updates in the kitchen. But I think that this could basically be done in the course of maybe a long weekend, 3 days, maybe a little bit longer, maybe 4 days. But look at this backyard. Imagine if you're a single mom and you have a 5-year-old, and you're working hard, long days, and you want the kid to be able to play. Put a little swing set right here. I mean, you can have family barbecues out here. This is nice. $84,000, $85,000. And here's the entrance to the downstairs basement, which could be, I was told, could be converted to a 3rd bedroom because of the ceiling heights. You'd actually be able to turn this into a 3-bedroom. I'm not factoring that in. I'm calling it a 2-bedroom. But, roughly 1,800 square feet of total space. Backing up to a peaceful, kind of like woody area. Nice little hiking trail back here. So, I mean, what do you think? If you buy it all cash, which we're doing, right? $84,000, $300 worth of monthly carrying costs, probably pulling about 1,300 bucks a month, give or take. $1,000 per month in cash flow, $12,000 a year. In 7 years, you would essentially get the entire purchase price back for the entire property in 7 years. Now, if you use leverage, which is about 14%, unlevered return. Now, if you use leverage, if you want to take out a loan for $30,000, $40,000, you could bump this number to 20% or more return cash on cash. Where else are you going to get this, right? I think just the cost to build this property today would probably be somewhere around $250 a foot, you know, at least. So if it's 1,000 square feet, that's $250,000 just to build the structure. You get $80,000 for you know, 0.4 and change of an acre. So like almost half an acre you get for free, and then you get 60-70% off for the structure if it were brand new, which it's not, you know, it's older. But we're going to do the inspections probably Thursday, Friday. So do the inspections as long as there's nothing major, like any major structural issues, anything like that, then yeah, we'll be closing on this in about the next 10 days. And this will be my first Section 8 here in Ohio. And I plan to really scale this up, and we have ways in which we're going to be managing these properties and automating it to where we can run it at very, very razor thin margins. And yeah, I look forward to kind of scaling this up and acquiring a lot of these properties, because I think people need affordable housing. I think this is going to be a really big market with Section 8 the next couple of years. And I think that inflation is going to be a big problem. I think that they're going to continue printing more and more and more money. And if you don't own hard real assets, I think it could be a bad thing. So owning as many assets as you can that are priced well, that will weather the storm, I think is a good position to take. And you start to just look at all these homes. There's literally like thousands of these properties around 100 grand, thousands. And there's nowhere else in the country. I was talking to a Lyft driver on the way here, and she's like, yeah, my friend in Atlanta says the food is less expensive in Atlanta than in Cleveland. I didn't really notice food costs. I thought food costs here were very reasonable, because I've only lived in big cities essentially in America the last decade or so. So I'm used to, you know, $6 lattes and, you know, going out everywhere. It's $30, $40 for a single person. And she's like, yeah, but the housing costs like triple. I'm like, well, 30% of all investors were buying in Atlanta the last couple of years. 30% of all deals purchased by investors.
Imagine being seriously injured and missing out on millions in compensation just because you didn't know where to turn. Many law firms settle for low-ball offers, leaving victims with far less than they deserve. It's frustrating, unfair, and sometimes they charge you before they even win. That's where Morgan & Morgan comes in.
America's largest injury law firm fights to get the clients the compensation they deserve.
And the best part, you pay nothing unless they win. They've won $12 million in Florida, 34 times more than the insurance offer, and $26 million in Philadelphia, 40 times more than the insurance offer. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome. Features: no upfront fees unless you win. Over 1,000 attorneys and a dedicated legal team to fight for you. They handle everything for you, and it's incredibly easy to start your claim. Your injury could be worth millions.
You can visit the link in the description box below this video to start your claim today.
What do you think they're going to be buying the next couple of years? Tons of these properties. So before that really starts, I think there's going to be an immense opportunity to buy all these like just great houses for $100,000 a pop. $100,000 a pop, and market rate. I really think that if I wanted to rent that for $14.50, we probably could get it. But that's not going to be the approach we're going to take. We're going to look for the right tenant and put the right tenant in the right house so that we don't have high turnover. Generally with 2 bedrooms, you have more turnover than like a 3-bedroom house, but the average Section 8 tenant stays way longer than the average regular tenant. And so you just find the right tenant for that property. It might be, what I think is probably going to be a single mom. But, you know, her being able to, or maybe a single father or whatever it may be, but her being able, or he being able to move into that property, paying 10 or 20 or 30% of the rent, and the rest is subsidized by the US government. Look at how big these lots are. It's just a win-win for basically for everybody. But I mean, where else can you invest right now in America, looking all throughout the country, where there's high concentration of homes, where there is a low price to enter versus rent ratio? I can't think of one. And I've driven all throughout the entire country. The last 6 months, I did essentially like a real estate, it was more of like a real estate market analysis that I was doing for myself for fun and wanted to document it on this channel. So we went to Austin, Phoenix, Vegas, LA, San Francisco, Denver, went all over the place. And I was just looking at the changes in the markets and what was happening with investors, what was happening to tenants and landlords, what was happening to rent, insurance rates, taxes, looking at all of these different things and looking where would be the best place to invest, because I'm such a big advocate on inflation is going to get worse. And then we came across Cleveland and this entire pocket around Cleveland and Toledo and all these other areas, and you start seeing like immense opportunity. Like if you had hypothetically $1 million and you're like, well, how much is $1 million going to buy me in 5 years, 10 years? I would argue a fraction of what it's going to buy you today, right? But if you go out here hypothetically and bought 10 houses for $1 million in cash, so you had basically no leverage, 100 grand each, right? And each one's renting for $1,300, $1,400 a month, and you can make $10,000 a month, $120,000 a year with no leverage. Like, I personally think that probably be a good move for some people, right? But where else can someone go out there and do that? And if they added leverage, they could probably scale that immensely to maybe 15, 18, $20,000 a month and just profit. There's nowhere else that you can do this in America right now. And a lot of the people that live here are accustomed to, you know, these prices that are, you know, $50,000, $60,000 years ago, and saying, you know, everything now is so expensive here because it's $100,000 or $80,000. Look, if the market drops $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, I don't really care. You know, you care about the cash flow and protecting your capital. And I think investors are going to be looking at this saying, you know what? This is not the only, but a great spot to invest. And a lot of people that live here, I think, are going to try to hold on to these homes that can. But I think a lot of people are, you know, aging and they're going to want to sell the properties. They don't want to maintain them. So yeah, I think we're walking into a huge opportunity here to buy these properties. I'll show you. I'm going to walk up here and show you this house. They bought this for 200 and I think it was 250 or 247, and it's bigger than the one that I'm under contract for right now. Much bigger. It's like 2,500 square feet. But you're talking about, you know, 5x the purchase price, and the rent on that one, that might generate $1,800, $1,900 maximum, versus me pulling 13. So like, what's the better play? I could pull 13 5 times over compared to this one for 18 or 19 maybe, right? So getting these entry-level homes in great areas with incredible management, making sure the roof is good, making sure the systems are good, and making sure that it's run correctly, and we should be off to the races. This is the house right here. I really don't think it's this one right up here with the car in the driveway. I really don't think it's that special, but the drop, you know, almost a $250,000 or a $250,000 on this house is, you know, it's not for me. This is it right here with the American, right next door to the American flag. It's a 2-story. It's a 2-story house right there. $250,000 for that. So look at the street. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So I think what I might end up doing here on this channel over the next couple weeks, and we're also, we wrote an offer on another property today. Hopefully we get it. I'm not going to give too many details because I don't want someone competing with me on the deal. But the cash flow on this thing would be like $2,500 a month, and yeah, maybe a little bit more if we do a couple of small little changes. And it is sub 200K, and not like 199, like, you know, decently below that. And yeah, we're looking at 3 other properties tomorrow. We have 2 other tours set up the following day. So I think what we want to do, what I'd like to do on this channel, is maybe once a week, maybe 2 times a week, talking about the deals that I'm buying, talking about going over the numbers, like how much I'm actually paying for the deal, what it costs me to turn them over, you know, the problems that I'm going through, solutions that I find to problems, how we're managing them, how we're finding deals, kind of go through everything. And then people can, you know, if they want to invest in their own deals, and you know, they learn about the process and they're better for it, you know, because at the end of the day, we need solutions to the problems that we're facing. And I think the problems are just going to continue growing. And I think saving is going to be for savers are going to be losers over the next 5 years, 10 years, unfortunately, just because of the direction of the country and where we're all going to be going. We're going to see sky high inflation. I can promise you the next couple years, sky high inflation. And it's not just me saying it. You got John Tudor Jones saying it. You have Stanley Druckenmiller saying it. You have all of these very prominent, successful billionaire, multi-billionaire investors all saying to prepare for massive inflation. Even someone from the Fed recently came out saying prices aren't going back to what they were. So what is that going to mean for assets, right? Entry-level assets, like these little homes. My prediction is get your hands on a bunch of these houses, and it could work out well. What do you think about this entire situation? Let's have a conversation about this below. And I mean, look at this. Look at that. Look at that frontage. Like anywhere else in America, these homes are $450,000 to $750,000. Some markets even more than that, $800,000, $900,000. Yet real wages have barely moved, and somehow values have skyrocketed. Like in Camden, New Jersey, there's these homes were $15,000 to $20,000 like 3-4 years ago. This neighborhood is the hood. Like they had the highest rate in America in 20, I think it was 2018 or 2019. And it's a small little city, right? Right. Essentially, the only thing separating it from Philadelphia is the Ben Franklin or Walt Whitman Bridge that, you know, goes over the Delaware. This area, you could buy homes for 15, 20 grand a couple years ago. Now they're 150 to 200,000. How are these homes 10x? How? Some people say, look, it's close to Philly, or it's close to Jersey, or close to New York. And that's why. It's because investors are buying it up. Investors are looking at cheap inventory. And I think that trend is going to continue as things get worse. Let's have a conversation about this below. And for more information on today's video sponsor, you can click the link in the description just below this video. And I catch you next video.